Hi, welcome to part 3 of my Mass Effect 2 review, which is actually turning into more of an analysis than a review, but hopefully you're still with me. I was talking about combat and how it differs from Mass Effect 1. Specifically, I left off talking about your squad mate's AI. In the first game, every time you turned around, your squad mates were dead. For real. In the second game, they don't die as often. Sometimes they'll get your back. They're slightly smarter, but still pretty stupid. They'll run, if you don't tell them where to go, they'll run directly to the enemy, usually, and get shot. If you do tell them where to go, sometimes they'll stay behind cover, sometimes they'll get on the wrong side of cover, sometimes they'll get, like I said, on top of cover, and they die, and that's that. You bring them back to life with metagels that you collect in the world, which you don't really run out of for the most part. So, usually you can get through most battles with what you have at your own disposal anyway. I mean, it's nice to have the powers of your teammates when they're alive, but if you don't, you can usually win most battles even with just guns. But in the future, in Mass Effect, people have powers, biotic powers, and tech powers. Myself, if you're going to give me access to powers, I'm going to use them. I mean, they give you guns too, but if I wanted to play a game with just guns, I'd play any other shooter out there. So, you have access to powers that can throw people around the room. You can light them on fire, you can freeze them, you can combine powers to make for some pretty interesting effects. And then when you can combine your powers with your teammates' powers, your own powers can combine together with their powers. But it's pretty fun. And it makes for some pretty interesting combat, but it's pretty simplistic. It's really not that difficult. I mean, I played on normal because I kind of wanted to see really more of the story, but even on normal, I think I died the whole game maybe twice because I didn't know what to expect, and this huge boss just came at me and stomped me to the ground. But yeah, again, you can get through most battles with just what you have on you, even if your squad mates are dead. But they revive after all the enemies have been vanquished anyway. So if you don't want to waste a metagel, just kill every enemy. Your guys will get back up, or gals, guys or gals. So, in terms of the enemy AI, they're pretty dense as well. They'll do one of two things. They'll either get behind cover, like you, and then they'll poke their head out for it to get shot off by your gun. Or, they will start to come towards you out in the open, and then you have two options. You can, again, shoot their head off with your gun, or you can use your powers to manipulate them around the room, or light them on fire, or bounce them off walls, whatever it is. So, the combat, like I said, is pretty simplistic, but it's fun. It's an improvement over the last game, but combat isn't what made Mass Effect 1 great. So, even though that's an improvement, there's a little bit more to discuss in terms of what they did with Mass Effect 2 and why it's not Mass Effect 1. Or as good as Mass Effect 1. So, when you kill an enemy, like most games, or most RPGs, you kill enemies, you gain experience. In Mass Effect 1, you did. You killed an enemy, you gain experience. You read a new codex, you gain experience. You opened up a container, you gain experience. In Mass Effect 2, you don't gain experience for anything. Hacking terminals, opening containers, killing enemies, whatever it is. The only time that you obtain experience is when you accept the mission and then you complete a mission. At the end of the mission, this report pops up that says, this is the experience you gained. These are the resources you collected along your way. These are the powers or the upgrades that you found in the world. It's kind of a waste of a screen, waste of time. I mean, I pretty much knew what I did the entire time. I don't know that I need a review of it or for you to take me out of the game to tell me what I did. But again, it's another way that BioWare went ahead and kind of steered this game towards the shooter crowd as opposed to the RPG crowd, because it's more of a mission-based structure as opposed to kind of an adventure or RPG where you explore, you basically just go to point A, linear level, walk combat, collect some things here and there, walk combat, mission complete, experience. Done. And it's definitely, it gives it a less of an RPG feel and more of a shooter feel. For one, I didn't like that part of it. Everyone still levels up at the same time. You also have one pool of XP, and every time you level up, you gain health, and you get talent points that you can spend on your skills. So when you upgrade powers, it's a little bit different. In Mass Effect 1, there were a lot of things that you can spend your talent points on. You had combat talents that you can use to upgrade your weapons, your armor, melee damage, health. You could upgrade tech talents like the damage radius of grenades, which, by the way, they took out of the game. You can upgrade how fast you hack, or your shield strength, how many omnigels that you use to unlock doors and terminals, things of that nature. Upgrade your biotic powers, your talents, and you can even upgrade your conversation skills. If you wanted to charm people more, you upgraded that. If you wanted to intimidate people more, you upgraded that. You had class-specific talents that you can upgrade. There were 12 points that you can allot to each specific talent. And then as you went down that path, different powers were unlocked that you could use in combat. It was a pretty deep system, and the reason that I went over all that is because none of it, for the most part, appears in Mass Effect 2. So one of the biggest RPG elements, leveling up, stats. These are your stats. These are the powers that you can unlock as you move up this skill tree. And I don't know if you could even get every skill in every tree. There were a lot of them. But the way it works in Mass Effect 2 is you just get the powers that you have access to in combat from the get-go. And they have 4 levels. When you get a talent point, you can spend it on... Well, the first level of a talent costs 1 talent point. The second level costs 2. The third costs 3. And the fourth, of course, costs 4. Once you get to the 4th level, you have a choice between one of 2 options to evolve this power into the final power it will be for the rest of the game. That's it. So they just dumbed it down, I mean, they made it too simple. I don't know why they chose to go about it this way. I mean, I had talent points at the end of the game I didn't even use because I didn't really kind of dig the system that much. I just kind of upgraded what I felt was most important, and that was pretty much about it. You also have the ability to use powers of your teammates, meaning you do certain things in the game that unlock abilities of your teammates, and once those abilities are unlocked, you can choose one of them for yourself to use in combat, and you can spend resources to train to use this skill. And if you wanted to use another one of your bonus powers that you've unlocked for your squad, you simply just train again with your resource, and you have access to that power now. Any points that you put into the power previously just transfer over to the new power. So it just gives you access to another power, basically, to the limited powers that you already had during combat. So another way that they went ahead and changed the RPG portion of the game, I don't know, maybe it's almost like they're going more casual with this, more shooter. They don't want people to have to deal with leveling up, spending more time in the menus than in the game. I, for one, and a lot of people probably that like RPGs, enjoy the menu and inventory management aspect of RPGs just as much as traveling around the world. So they went ahead and changed that. Didn't make it a big part of the game at all. And not something that I liked as far as a change. So I'm going to go ahead and just make another part here because time is running short.